You know the sound of your entire life breaking apart? It's not a loud crash. It's silence. A deafening silence that fills the room, a vacuum where your family's respect, love, and trust used to be. For me, that silence had the face of my sister, Chloe, and the weight of a crumpled piece of paper in my hand. A piece of paper I had never seen before in my life, but which, according to everyone in that room, was irrefutable proof that I was a fraud. I was 17, and my world was about to be burned to the ground. They just didn't know that from the ashes, sometimes, what rises is fire. This story is about the deepest betrayal a person can suffer, and about how, sometimes, the universe gives you a second chance to rewrite the ending. If you, like me, believe that justice, no matter how long it takes, always finds its way, then subscribe to the channel. You won't want to miss a second of what's coming. Let's go back a bit. Me and Chloe. Sisters. In theory, that should mean support, a built-in best friend. In practice, we were planets in opposite orbits, forced to revolve around the same sun, our parents' approval. And in our family's solar system, Chloe was always Jupiter, the giant, the favorite, the one that shone the brightest. Me? I was Pluto. Small, distant, and most of the time, completely forgotten. Since we were kids, competition was the air we breathed. Our parents, with the best of intentions, I suppose, created a battlefield instead of a home. Every grade, every compliment, every achievement was weighed, measured, and compared. And Chloe always won. She was the model student, the obedient daughter, the pride of the family. Her grades were flawless, her behavior, perfect. I was the hard worker. The one who spent sleepless nights studying, the one who gave up parties and friends to bury myself in books, and yet, I always fell just short. My grades were good, even great, but they were never Chloe's grades. Leah, why can't you just be more like your sister? Was the soundtrack of my childhood. Every A I got was overshadowed by her A+. Every achievement of mine was minimized by her next victory. I lived in her shadow, a cold, suffocating shadow that made me feel inadequate, not enough. The national college entrance exams were our final arena. The chance to get into the best university in the country, a prestigious federal institution. For my parents, it was more than just a test, it was validation of their success as parents. The pressure was crushing, a constant weight on my shoulders. But, for the first time in my life, I felt I had a real chance. I had studied like never before. I knew every formula, every concept, every historical date. I was ready. More than ready, I was confident. In the days leading up to the test, the tension at home was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Chloe floated around the house with an irritating calmness, while I chewed my nails down to the quick. The night before the first day of exams, my parents insisted we stay in a hotel near the testing center. To avoid the stress of traffic, my dad said. They booked one room. A single room. With 2 beds. I'm not sharing a room with her, I said, my voice firmer than I expected. My mother gave me that look of exhaustion and disappointment I knew so well. Leah, for God's sake, don't start with your drama. It's one night. You're sisters. Exactly, Mom. We're sisters. And I know the kind of sister I have. Chloe, standing nearby, put on her best victim face. Leah, what did I do? I just want to support you. We're in this together. I felt my blood boil. That fake innocence, that act that only I seemed to see through. But my parents, as always, fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I was labeled as jealous, as a troublemaker, I ended up giving in, swallowing the bitter pill of frustration. On the morning of the exam, the atmosphere was electric. Chloe hummed to herself while getting ready. I could barely breathe. I grabbed my pencil case, the one that had been with me all year, filled with lucky pens and worn-out erasers, and put it in my backpack. Chloe approached me with a sweet smile. "Wow, your pencil case is so old, Leah. Take mine. It's new, it'll bring you luck." She held out a pencil case identical to mine, only visibly brand new. I refused. "No, thanks. I like mine." She insisted, and my parents joined in, telling me not to be ungrateful. The argument escalated. In the midst of the confusion, in the blink of an eye, while I was distracted by my mother, I saw Chloe's swift movement. She took my pencil case from my backpack and swapped it with hers. It was so subtle, so fast, that if my nerves hadn't been on high alert, I would have missed it. An alarm went off in my brain. My heart hammered against my ribs. "What did you just do?" I asked, staring her down. "Me? Nothing. I'm just helping you," she said, with the most innocent eyes in the world. "Give me back my pencil case." "Stop it, Leah. We're going to be late." My father yelled that I was dragged out of there, with a pencil case that wasn't mine and a gut feeling that chilled me to the bone. I entered the exam room. The proctor went over the instructions. That smell of new paper and anxiety filled the air. I opened the pencil case Chloe had given me. And there it was. At the bottom, hidden under the pens, a tiny, folded piece of paper. A cheat sheet. With the most complex physics formulas written in a handwriting that, to my horror, perfectly mimicked mine. My blood ran cold. My hands started to shake. I glanced over at Chloe, in another row, and she gave me a quick look. A look of triumph. I had two options: turn it in before the test began, risking a scandal and everyone's suspicion, or hide it and pray no one noticed. But how? Where? Panic took over. The tests were handed out. I couldn't focus. The words danced in front of me. Chloe's smiling face was burned into my mind. She had planned it all, and then, it happened. In the middle of the exam, a proctor approached my desk. "Miss, could you come with me, please?" My heart stopped. I was taken to a separate room. My backpack was searched. And, of course, the pencil case was opened. The proctor pulled out the cheat sheet with his fingertips, as if it were toxic waste. The school principal was called. My parents were contacted. The humiliation that followed is a stain on my memory. I was treated like a criminal. The looks of disappointment from my parents cut me deeper than any knife. My mother was crying. My father couldn't even look at me. And Chloe? Chloe arrived with the expression of a betrayed saint. "Leah, how could you? I can't believe it. We studied so hard together," she presented evidence. Scrap paper from the trash can in our room, with the same handwriting as the cheat sheet, which she had forged and planted there herself. She constructed the perfect narrative. The jealous sister, who couldn't handle the pressure and resorted to cheating to try and beat her brilliant sister, and the worst part: everyone believed her. That night, at home, the judgment continued. My father, a man who had never laid a hand on me, slapped me across the face. A slap that cracked in the silence of the room and broke the last thread of hope I had. "You've dishonored our family name," he screamed. "Years of investment, of sacrifice, thrown in the trash. You're a disgrace." My mother sobbed, holding on to Chloe, who was crying crocodile tears. I only wanted what was best for her. I swear, locked in my room, the pain was physical. It was a lump in my throat, a weight on my chest that kept me from breathing. The world had crumbled. My reputation, my future, my family's love, all gone. I had no way to prove my innocence. It was my word against the perfect daughters. And my word was worthless. I fell asleep in a haze of tears, wishing with every fiber of my being that I would never wake up. Or, if I did, that it would all have been just a nightmare, and then I woke up. But something was wrong. The light coming through the window was morning light, yes, but not the morning after my disaster. It was the morning of the exam. I looked at my phone. The date confirmed the impossible. It was the day of the test. The day it all began, I sat up in bed, my heart hammering against my ribs. Was it a dream? A hallucination? I touched my face. The sting of my father's slap was still there, a ghost memory on my skin. It wasn't a dream. I had come back. I had a second chance. A wave of pure adrenaline shot through my body. The despair of the previous night transformed into a cold, calculated fury. The pain gave way to a steely determination. If the universe was giving me a do-over, I wasn't just going to defend myself. I was going to destroy her game. I got up, the plan already forming in my mind. The first part was simple: avoid the trap. I went down for breakfast. There they were. My dad reading the paper, my mom making coffee, and Chloe, with her fake smile, already dressed for her big day. "Morning, sleepyhead." "Anxious?" she asked, with a sweetness that turned my stomach. "Not at all," I replied, my voice ice cold. My parents noticed my tone, but I ignored them. The plan was already in motion. When it was time to go to the hotel, I made my announcement: I'm not going. I'll go straight to the testing center. I'd rather get my things organized there. Confusion erupted. My parents protested. "Leah, it's already paid for. Don't make trouble. It's my decision. I'm not sharing a room with Chloe." This time, my determination was unshakable. Chloe tried her usual act. "But, Leah, I thought we could support each other." "I don't need your kind of support, Chloe," I cut her off, looking directly into her eyes. I saw a flicker of surprise, maybe even fear, pass through them. She wasn't expecting this. After a heated argument, my parents, exhausted, gave in. I went to the testing center alone. The first of her dominoes had been removed from the board. The next step was the pencil case. I knew she would try again. At the school entrance, there was my family, waiting to wish me good luck. As predicted, Chloe approached me with the new pencil case in her hand. "Leah, I know we fought, but I still want to help you. Take it. Please." This time, I smiled. A smile that didn't reach my eyes. "You know what, Chloe? You're right. It's a lovely pencil case. I'll take it." I took the case from her hand, under the approving gaze of my parents. "See? It wasn't that hard to be nice," my mother said. Chloe smiled, victorious. She thought she had won. But on the way to my classroom, I made a quick stop at the restroom. With my heart racing, I opened the case she gave me. And there it was, the same miserable cheat sheet. I took the paper, crumpled it up, and shoved it deep into a trash can, under a mountain of used paper towels. Then, I took out my original pencil case, which I had hidden in a separate backpack, and went to my classroom. The case she gave me? I tossed it into my bag. Empty. Harmless. I sat at my desk, a terrifying calm washing over me. I had disarmed the bomb. Now, I just had to wait. And I didn't have to wait long. Just before the test began, Chloe walked past my desk, accidentally tripping and knocking her water bottle onto the floor near my chair. As she bent down to pick it up, with the proctor distracted, I saw her hand move quickly toward the metal grate under my seat. She stuck something there. A second piece of paper. A Plan B. The bitch had a Plan B. My blood boiled, but I kept my composure. She stood up, apologized, and went to her seat, giving me a look that said, "Checkmate." The test began. I tried to concentrate, but my mind was racing. She was going to report me. Any second now. She was just waiting for the right moment. I had to do something. But what? If I stood up and said, "My sister stuck a cheat sheet to my chair," who would believe me? I'd be the crazy, desperate one. And then, the moment came. I saw Chloe raise her hand. She whispered something in the proctor's ear, pointing discreetly in my direction. The proctor started walking toward me, the same stern look, the same horror movie about to play out again. Panic hit me like a punch. No. Not again. I wouldn't let it happen. In a split second, a desperate, insane, and theatrical idea took over my mind. If she wanted a show, she was going to get one. When the proctor was just a few feet away, I jumped to my feet. "Stop!" I yelled. The entire room turned to look at me. The silence was absolute. The proctor froze, shocked. "Miss. Please, sit down, and oh." I interrupted, my voice trembling with rage and adrenaline. "I know what's happening. I'm being accused of cheating. Again." I looked directly at Chloe. Her smile faltered. "You're going to say I have a cheat sheet on me. And you want to search me? Fine. I'll make your job easier." And then, I did it. In front of a room full of students, proctors, and security cameras, I started to take off my clothes. First, I took off my jacket and threw it on the floor. Then, my shoes. I started to unbutton my shirt. Gasps of shock echoed through the room. The head proctor ran toward me. "Miss, what are you doing? Stop this right now. I'm going to prove my innocence." I shouted, tears of rage streaming down my face. "I'm going to show all of you that I have nothing to hide." I was about to take off my shirt when the school principal ran in, alerted by the commotion. The scene was chaotic. I had gotten what I wanted. I had everyone's attention. The exam was suspended. I was taken to the principal's office, wrapped in a jacket, shaking, not from cold, but from an all-consuming fury. My parents arrived, looking like they'd seen a ghost. Chloe was there, faking concern. The investigation was immediate. The security cameras were checked. And that's when her house of cards began to collapse. The footage clearly showed Chloe tripping and placing something under my chair. It showed me going to the restroom before the test. They searched the trash and found the first cheat sheet, identical to the one under my seat. The setup was undeniable. The look on Chloe's face when the video was played is something I will cherish forever. The shock. The denial. And finally, the pure panic. She stammered, tried to lie, but the facts were there, in high definition. But the story didn't end there. Her score, it was perfect. Flawless. In every subject. Impossible. The proctors, now suspicious, began to investigate her history. And what they discovered was even more bizarre. Chloe wasn't just a cheater. She had a system. During the interrogation, under pressure, she confessed everything. She had made a pact of knowledge. A kind of dark deal with an entity, or a power, that she found in an old book. In exchange for years of her own life, she received instant knowledge. Every perfect score, every correct answer, every ace test, cost her a piece of her existence. She was literally selling her future to have a perfect present. The shock in the room was total. My parents looked like they had aged 10 years in 10 minutes. The perfect daughter, the family genius, was a fraud built on a macabre lie. And that's when I understood. The first time, in the life that was erased, I was the perfect scapegoat to cover her secret. If I was caught cheating, no one would ever question her perfect scores. I was the shield. Her world collapsed. And mine? Mine was about to be rebuilt. The university, upon learning of the case, offered me a new chance. A special test, just for me. But I still had to pass. And Chloe, even unmasked, still had her packed. On the day of my new test, she was there. The university allowed her to retake the exam under strict supervision to assess the extent of the fraud. She looked older, with deep dark circles under her eyes and a desperate look. She looked at me with pure hatred. "You took everything from me," she hissed. "No, Chloe. You sold it." Piece by piece, I replied. I sat down to take the test. The questions were hard, but I had studied. I was ready. In the middle of the exam, I looked at Chloe. I saw her lips moving, soundlessly. Her eyes had a strange glow. She was using the pact. Trading more of her life for those answers. And a wicked, brilliant idea came to me. I stopped writing. I left. My test almost entirely blank. I handed in my answer sheet with more than half of the questions unsolved and walked out of the room. I saw the panic in Chloe's eyes. If I, her rival, got such a low score, she didn't need a perfect score. She just needed to be better than me. She could save her years of life. I saw relief wash over her. She relaxed. She turned in her test. Soon after, but there was one last question. A bonus question, worth almost half the grade. One that no one was expected to solve. I had asked the professor to include it. It was a complex, theoretical math problem that I had spent the last month studying on my own, out of pure passion. I went back into the room, asked for my answer sheet back, saying I had forgotten to fill in my name. The proctor, reluctantly, allowed it. And in 5 minutes, I filled in the answer to the bonus question. The only question that mattered. The results came out a week later. Chloe got a 98. An excellent score, but not perfect. She smirked, thinking she had won. My score was a 45. A disaster. My parents looked at me with pity. "It's okay, sweetie. At least you tried." Chloe laughed. "I always knew you were no match for me, Leah. Not even with a second chance." That's when the dean of the university, Professor Miller, a legend in mathematics, walked into the room. He was holding my test in his hand. "Miss Chloe, your score of 98 is impressive. But it's not what we're looking for." He turned to me. Leah. Your score was 45. But you solved the impossible question. The question I created myself, which tests not rote knowledge, but pure brilliance. This university doesn't just want students who know the answers. We want those who know how to ask the questions. Welcome to the university. Chloe's jaw dropped. So did mine, for a second. Then, a slow smile spread across my face. Justice wasn't just served. It was poetic. Chloe, in her arrogance, used her pact to get 98 points. She sold years of her life for a score that, in the end, was worthless. I, with 45 points and a single brilliant answer, had won everything. Chloe's final humiliation was public. Disqualified. From the exam, exposed as a fraud, she became an outcast. The pact, it seemed, had a high price for failure. Without the victory, the power began to collect its due all at once. In the following weeks, she began to age. Rapidly. Her hair turned gray, her skin wrinkled. At 18, she looked 50. She was a ghost of the girl she once was. My parents, finally seeing the truth, came to me, begging for forgiveness. We didn't know, Leah, forgive us, we were so blind. I looked at them. My father's slap. My mother's tears of disappointment. The way they had discarded me without a second thought. I don't have parents, I said, my voice devoid of emotion. The family I had died in that room on the day you believed the lie and abandoned me. You made your choice. Now, live with it. I turned and walked away. I went to the university, to my new life. I built my future, not with shortcuts or pacts, but with my own sweat, my own mind. I became a respected academic, a woman no one would ever dare to underestimate again, sometimes. I wonder what happened to them. I heard my parents live alone in a big, silent house, haunted by the daughter they idolized and the one they destroyed. And Chloe. I heard she lives as a recluse, an old woman in a young body, paying the eternal price for a shortcut that led her to a dead end. Revenge, in my case, wasn't an act of rage. It was the act of taking back my life, of proving my worth on my own terms. They tried to erase my future, but all they did was give me the strength to build an even brighter one, far from the toxic shadow they called love. The lesson I learned is that the truth, no matter how hard you try to bury it, always finds a way to the surface. And sometimes, it blooms in the most unlikely soil, watered by the ashes of injustice. What would you have done in my place? Would you have forgiven your family, or would you have done the same as me? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read all of them. And of course, if you enjoyed this journey, subscribe to the channel for more stories where justice, finally, finds its place.